Well, this morning we're working to find out more about shots that were fired at a rail runner train. Rail runner officials say a 12-year-old boy shot at one of its trains around 6:30 last night. It happened at the station on the Santo Domingo Pueblo. They say the boy shot at it with a small caliber rifle. Although the glass is bulletproof, the first pane did shatter. State police and the Bureau of Indian Affairs are investigating. It will eventually be turned over to Homeland Security. Officials say charges will be filed. A grand jury has indicted an accused cop killer and his girlfriend on murder charges. Andrew Romero admitted he gunned down Rio Rancho police officer Greg Benner on Memorial Day. His girlfriend, Tabitha Littles, was with him, and police say she could have warned the officer what was about to happen. Now, District Attorney Lemuel Martinez says he'll throw the book at both of them and take an extra step to make sure they're locked up until they die.
We're going to try to move this thing and rapidly push it through the system and try to avoid any delays that might pop up along the way.
Romero faces life in prison without parole for killing a police officer, on top of nearly 50 years for the other charges. Officer Benner's death has people pushing for a permanent memorial to remember Rio Rancho's fallen officers. The department is now accepting donations and says a committee will decide plans for the memorial. Now, 3 Rio Rancho officers have died in the line of duty. If you would like to help, we've posted information on our KRQE app. A drunk driver who seriously injured a bicyclist is heading to prison. Yesterday, Robert Duran was sentenced to 18 months in prison. The judge gave him a week to turn himself in. Witnesses saw him speeding when he hit Jimmy Page at 4th and Montano nearly a year ago. After the crash, Duran took off. Page suffered severe head trauma and internal injuries, but survived. Duran admitted to drinking, and police found marijuana in his car. Well, it's low, stealing a donation jar for a little boy killed at a state park. Roswell police say 22-year-old Christopher Marquez is the man in this surveillance video holding a knife. As he left the Family Dollar empty-handed, he saw a donation jar full of money, went back, swiped it, and bolted. The money was to help the family of a 2-year-old killed at Bottomless Lake State Park last week. Marquez is charged with 2 counts of armed robbery. We're following developing news out of Dallas this morning. Authorities say at least 1 person fired shots at the police headquarters there. Dallas police say the shooting started just after midnight. They say a group of suspects pulled up to the police station and began firing. At least one of the suspects then fled the scene in a van. Police say that van rammed a police cruiser before leading officers on a chase. They say as many as 4 suspects may have been involved. Police also found 4 bags, including one holding a pipe bomb. So far, there have been no reports of injuries. A prison tailor shop teacher is now charged with helping 2 murderers escape from a New York State prison. Joyce Mitchell is accused of giving David Sweat and Richard Matt tools to help them escape. Police won't say what exactly she gave them, but it was not power tools. The pair have been on the run since last Saturday. Yesterday, police searched swampy patches and woods after tracking dogs picked up their scent in New York State. NAACP leaders are responding to questions about the racial identity of a woman who leads a chapter in Washington state. The organization says ethnicity is not a requirement for the organization. Rachel Dolezal is being accused by her parents of falsely portraying herself as a black woman. Dolezal says her father is African American, but her parents, Larry and Ruth Ann, are both white. They say Dolezal is pretending to be someone she isn't. In the past, she has identified herself as black, white, and Native American, but her parents say that's not true.
Our daughter is primarily German and Czech, and of European descent.
So she's white.
Caucasian. She's white.
Anything to say to them.
The NAACP says that it respects Dolezal's privacy as she faces what it calls a legal issue with her family. Well, police this morning, we're getting a look at new video in the case of an APD officer charged with beating a homeless man. But as News 13's Lizzie Mitri reports, it's what's not caught on video that could get the officer and his partner in trouble.
There's lapel video from officers at the scene, but investigators say the cameras didn't start rolling until after the suspect was punched by one of the officers.
Yeah, you're drunk.
Albuquerque police officer Cedric Greer, seen here in lapel video, reported to the Best Choice Inn on Central near Louisiana in March alongside Officer Jerry Roush. They're shown politely cuffing the man accused of trespassing because he refused to leave the parking lot.
Your handcuffs have sufficient enough wrist space, okay? We've been nothing but cool with you, so remain cool with us.
A criminal investigation suggests the suspect was cool with them, never threatening officers, but Officer Greer is charged with misdemeanor aggravated battery for pushing the man to the ground and punching him in the face and chest. Police say a cadet on a ride-along reported it all, but the beating's not on either officer's lapel video.
All of that information is very concerning to me, and that will be part of our internal affairs investigation.
Instead of a beating, when cameras start rolling, video shows the officer helping the suspect put his jacket on and dusting off his clothes.
He had to pick you up off of the ground, bro. Am I right? Yeah. That's not cool.
Officer Roush gets ready to put him in the back of his patrol car.
Obviously, I already informed you of your rights and all that stuff.
He even warns him to watch his legs as he's about to shut the car door.
I don't want you to get hurt.
APD says Roush and Greer haven't been allowed back to work while they're being investigated.
Chief Gordon Eden announced the investigation a month after the incident. APD still hasn't said why the officers didn't turn their cameras on until after the arrest. Lizzie Mitri, KRQE News 13.
The suspect was charged for having marijuana, and for trespassing, he's pled not guilty. A former Santa Fe police officer who roughed up a taxi driver is barred from working at any New Mexico law agency for the next 6 months. Jose Gutierrez resigned after dash cam video recorded the traffic stop last year. Gutierrez tackled a woman to the ground after she got out of her car when he told her not to. She had a black eye, sprained wrist, and injured ribs. The state's law enforcement academy suspended Gutierrez's certification this week. The man federal prosecutors call one of Albuquerque's worst criminals is in trouble again. Chris Blattner pleaded no contest in the murder of a drug dealer, shooting at cops during a SWAT standoff and killing his neighbor, Kathy Paquin. He's serving 30 years, but now he's facing more charges after he was found with a shank made with razor wire while in prison. Police in Santa Fe are investigating a heartless burglary at a fire station. It happened Thursday night near Rodeo in Avenida de las Campañas. Police say when firefighters responded to a call for service, someone went into the station and stole stuff. It's unknown what exactly was taken, but police did take DNA evidence. It's not the news anyone wanted to hear. A new list shows New Mexico is one of the top 10 states with the most gun violence. The website 24/7 Wall Street ranked New Mexico 9th based off of gun-related deaths. According to the CDC, it says the firearm death rate in 2013 was 15.4 per 100,000. Gun-related deaths in the state included murders and accidents, but the majority of the deaths were from suicide. Family and friends of a former Alamogordo city worker got thousands of dollars worth of free utilities. The city caught him, but Armando Ortega kept his job until a state audit raised even more questions. We told you about it last summer, and yesterday the state auditor released his review results. It shows Ortega would let friends run up unpaid bills for water. Then, because he was in charge of the list to shut off service, he'd get rid of the debt and chalk it up to a faulty meter.
Why was this allowed to happen? And that's what we're going to work with them going forward to institute better controls to make sure that people can't get away with this. This was what looks to be some very egregious bill tampering.
The city told us Ortega was fired last month after they got a look at the audit's findings. The report also says Ortega likely accepted free Cowboys tickets from a city contractor. State police will follow up on any criminal charges. a potentially deadly virus could be headed to the United States. Officials at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are warning doctors to be on the lookout for MERS, the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. In less than a month's time, an outbreak in South Korea has left more than 120 people sick and at least 13 dead. Health officials suspect an elderly man carried the illness to South Korea last month after traveling to Saudi Arabia.
This whole world has become one small culture dish almost, because anybody from anywhere in the world can travel and bring this virus to us.
South Korea's president is meeting with teams from the World Health Organization to get the upper hand on the illness. There is no vaccine and no cure.